Alright, so to review from my last, sorry it's dark out here, my last video, there's a blue wire and it's terminated, resistor terminated. Show that, resistor terminated. It's probably better if I less light. And then it's going into the SmartCraft network switch. And this is 10 pin, and it's 10 pin at the motor. If you've got any extra connections, you got to put in a resistor. Well, I'm sorry, this is a data terminator. That's the data terminator. And then one side of this is going out to my Mercury SmartCraft meter, and then the other one is a gateway, which is back there, right? And then it comes down, and here's the gateway. Now, sorry, it's early in the morning. Let me get this where you can see it. There's the gateway. And bear with me a second. So, if I turn the switch onto my motor, whoops. I have the right key. And you'll notice, this is good because you'll notice that now the gateway, the CAN bus, and the NEMA2000 light up. And then I created a network, and there's power, and then there's the graph, and this other one goes to the gateway. So graph, gateway, anyway, this. And then, you know, if I wanted to add it, I could send it up to the front graph. But the Solix series, they work off of Ethernet. So I've got an Ethernet cable going up there, and anyway, I gotta tidy this back up and wrap it all back up. But I wanted to show that real quick. See, there's my SmartCraft. So, alright, there's a little review.
It's chilly.
It is chilly.
Oh yeah, robot going shot.
Now this is showing my red. Same thing with the warnings on your low. So if you want, we're going to select our limits, and you've got 13%. I'm going to bump that up to that first mark. %. Our data type is fuel. this would be fuel level, sorry. I'm going to select fuel 1. Or total fuel. Anyway, I'm not sure about that yet, but I would think fuel level. Do fuel level. So there you go. So I did a little more research on CAN bus. It doesn't stand for Canada. No, it's Central Area Networks. So I guess in the 90s, I didn't know this, but in the 90s, Bosch company developed CAN bus. So you got your ECU, which is a control module computer, right? And so you got all these, you know, like on a car, you know, you got all these little sensors, you know, airflow, all that stuff, oil, you know, all those things. So if you had to have all those connections going to those devices, as I understand it, then you'd have a lot of cabling. And then the ECU has to control it. So they developed CAN bus to manage it, as I understand it. And so it's its own information. So like in my video, when you saw it going to the gateway, all the gateway does is takes that information and assigns it to a NEMA value. And then once it's on the network, then the graph can understand the NEMA2000 values. So they got a whole text sheet of values that they have assigned to specific things, which is pretty cool. It seems to be pretty large. So I mean, you can have all kinds of things on the network. So anyway, that's what I discovered. I didn't know it, and it's interesting. But there's 10 pin, and that cable, it's a blue cable, goes from the engine up to the SmartCraft meter. It's like resistor protected. So, you know, if you had a failure or whatever, this wasn't working for me when I first installed it. And I discovered that the multi-pin that goes to the engine motor was loose. So I actually tightened it, and I found another 10 pin that wasn't seated properly. Once all that seated properly, then, you know, it was fine, and it powered right up. So anyway, if you got any issues when you're, you know, trying to do this, if it helps you, that's what was going on with mine. You know, obviously every boat is rigged different. So if you don't have the SmartCraft meter, you got to have the cable, you know, you got to have the junction box, all that stuff. And I'm thinking that if you had the controller that goes to the ECU, you should be able to open up ports that weren't there, or if they closed them down. You know, who knows if I want to monkey with that. But anyway, about to go fishing this morning, and I gotta go get my brother up so we can get out on the lake. We got a good day in Middle Tennessee. It's gonna be bright sunny skies, and it's the middle of November after Thanksgiving, and you know, it's good to have a good day. I can get out of the water. It's gonna be like 65, so it's gonna be awesome.
Are you